Welcome to my video on Football Manager 2023. This is a video to show you a rebuild or suggest a rebuild for Gillingham. This is a club that I've taken to League One. We're currently top of the league in the third season. In the first season, we did a massive overhaul of the squad because basically it's not good enough. If you look at some of the players, quite a lot of them are only good enough for the league below us. So basically I had a look at the squad and decided who can leave, mainly based on this to begin with. So the way that I go about it at the beginning is I look at a team's contract to see when it begins. So I'll insert a column here and come into contract and then go to general, and then it will be in this area, I believe. As you can see here, there's a number of players whose contracts started not this year, which makes them much more likely to want to leave the club, because players that just signed for you, such as let's see, well, we can include maybe these guys as well. All of these players, they all signed in June. My game start date is in June of this year, basically. So they're not going to want to leave because they've only just signed. If I come into here, I might be able to so if I want to loan this player out, he is a young player, 20 years old. If I want to loan this player out, he's saying, the agent's saying he doesn't have any interest in moving because he's only just signed for Gillingham. That's because he's signed without a view to being loaned out. Obviously he wants to play for the first team, which he probably will. So if you look at the budget, we've got 200k to start with and spare 8.5k. We've also got this sell-on clause here for Joe Walsh, which is a goalkeeper we got rid of a couple of seasons ago to QPR for 200k. This goalkeeper Luton Town are interested in him. He's worth probably about 300k, and if you come into this sell-on clause, they're offering 32k, which is the 10% of roughly his value right now. In my previous experience with playing as Gillingham, like I said, I got into League One. This guy, he doesn't get sold, and I'm not really surprised. I don't think he's quite good enough to go to any club for a fee just yet, and QPR won't be playing him either. So unfortunately, this player is not going to make it in terms of reaching his potential, and especially with that personality. So my recommendation is you come in here and you buy this clause for 32k. So that'll get added to your transfer budget. So go back on the transfer centre. Now it's been updated to 132k. So obviously you want to use that up as much as you can, but the way that you'll get extra transfer budget is by getting rid of players. I've assessed the squad, every single player, and like I said, not many of them are good enough to stay on. In my opinion, this player, Robbie McKenzie, is one that you want to keep on for sure. Obviously he's not great, but he is still young. His personality means he won't develop, unfortunately. And this player, George Lapsey, has got a lot of value as well, because he's got good work rate, teamwork, stamina, bravery, aggression, determination. He's a player that you want to have in your team because he has the mentality to play, and when it comes to his other attributes, they're quite They're quite decent. They're not amazing or anything. Technically he's not brilliant, but if he gets forward, he can finish a little bit. He can pass. He's got okay technique, first touch, and that's what you want in the middle of the park. So he's definitely a player you want to keep on. It's a shame about his personality, but not much you can do except just play him and hope he gets a couple of gains of attributes. Probably won't at 24 years old, but he's on 3.2k, and you're going to raise it. You can raise up his value by playing him. In my save, my Gillingham save, I ended up selling him in the third season to MK Dons for 300,000. I kept him on until League One. He played the first season of League One, did quite well, scored quite a few goals actually from midfield. As a midfielder with a attacking duty, and central midfielder. Other than that, I'd say the goalkeeper is just about good enough to keep on. He's not on that much money. Obviously he's dead slow and he's 38, but he has got a nice-ish personality relative to the squad, and that's good as a good use for a mentor in the what's it called? Is it a mentoring? Yeah, this bit. So I've already set it up like this, and you can see it'd have a good effect on these two players. Robbie McKenzie is still young enough to get mentored, so hopefully Glenn Morris can impart his professionalism onto Robbie McKenzie, and then they've both got the same level of determination, so nothing's going to change there. Bailey Akehurst, I think he's not really going to make it at this club. Probably will end up being a League Two player if he can develop, but that's only going to be with the help of Glenn Morris. His contract ends at the end of the season, and you can trigger the extension, and he is only on £300 a week, so I'll leave that one to you. I personally think you should just get rid of him and save the £300 a week, because it all adds up, and then you're better off signing someone that actually has a personality, which means that they can develop young player that can develop into a player that can be useful later on. Right, go back to the squad. So you've got two main strikers at the squad in the squad. I mean, I guess you could say you've got three, but I'd like to say you've got really two. You've got this guy, Tom Nichols. He's on £3,500 a week, which is far too much money for his ability. You should really be paying £3,500 a week for a League One player. I don't think he's. I mean, I guess you could say maybe he's a League One player. They say he's a good League Two player, but he's not very quick. He's got dodgy off the ball and anticipation. I mean, I know it is League Two, so it's not that big of a deal. He's got some ability to be creative with flair, vision, and a bit of passing and technique and first touch. But on the other hand, he can't hold the ball up. He's got no strength. Well, he's got some strength, obviously, but it's not going to be good enough against any centre back. And he's also got dodgy composure. My experience with this player is he is very inconsistent, and if you go into his reports, it says that he's a fairly inconsistent performer. He can score goals. In the chances that I gave him, I must have gave him something like 20 or 30 games in the season, and I think he got like between 5 and 10 goals, something like that. But that's not enough. If you want to stay in this league, you need a striker that can score 20 to 25 really. I ended up getting two strikers that scored 18 each, so that's something you can do. Another striker we've got here is Kashkit. Obviously he doesn't he is very quick. Well, not very quick. Well, he's very quick for this level, but his other ability is definitely lacking. I do like. I do kind of prefer him over Tom Nichols because of that speed, and he has got better off the ball, and he actually has better anticipation as well. And he's not that far off his technical ability from Tom Nichols. It's just the guy doesn't pay attention in the game, so you might find he goes missing a bit. And he does work hard, to be fair to him, and decent stamina, so he might be worth a look. I think you can't really do much about him anyway because his contract just started now. So I ended up keeping him on. To be honest, I use him more as a winger or inside forward. But in the tactic I'm going to suggest to you, I wouldn't suggest using inside forwards. I'd suggest using wingers. I think the best option really is this guy, even though he's on way too much money. In Ollie Hawkins, so he's very good in the air, and he's got all the right sort of attributes for a target man. If you come into my tactics here, I've set up this tactic. I can't say that it's been tested or anything, and it's just a kind of a work in progress. But my idea is that he stays central, and brings the others into play, which is why I put him on support. I'm a bit concerned that there's no sort of attacking impetus with all these support duties, but we'll see how that goes. We won't actually, because I'm not going to show you, but it's just a suggestion. I had an idea with Man City in mind of having inverted wing backs, sent to central midfielders that get forward into channels, and the wingers that stay wide. So these guys distract the fullbacks, and then these two slot into the channels either side of the central striker. The other option as well is you can, instead of having a target forward, is to go poacher. I think it really depends on what you need in the game. Like you might be against a team that sits deep, in which case it might be better to go for the target forward. If you're against a team that don't give you any respect and plays a high line, you should go for poacher and play a quick player like Kashkit. Right, going back to the squad, let's just show you the assessment. So another guy you want to keep on is this guy, Connor Masterson. He's on fairly expensive money, but to be honest, I think he's worth it because he is one of the best players in your team, for sure. Shame about his personality. Then this, maybe there's something you can do about that. Maybe not. Let me see now. Mentoring. If I go into here, Masterson. No. So because he's an influential player, you can't actually mentor him, even though he's not too old to be mentored. I think 23 is the limit. You can't mentor him because he's an influential player, and because you're going to play him all the time, if you can, he's not going to reduce his influence in the squad, unfortunately. So that's just one of them. I ended up actually signing him so that he was contracted permanently to the club at the end of the season. But I wouldn't suggest you do that right away. It's just something that I do when I want to cut down the number of players that I've got on loan, so that I can have more players in the team that are on loan. Because you can only have in this division and League One. I don't know about Championship, probably is the same. You can only have 5 players on loan in a match squad, and that's subs and your playing 11. Right. So keep Maxima. This guy has played for Gillingham for quite some time. We went to Bristol Rovers briefly. Obviously they didn't like him, so they let him go, and he's come back. And now the assistant manager says good National League player, even though he played in League One for ages, and he's only just dropped down to League Two. I think they've done him a bit dirty in this one, but Gills fans are 50-50 on whether this guy's any good. He's just slow, isn't he? That's the problem. If you want to play a high defensive line, this ain't your guy. He's good in the air, good on set pieces. Pretty average marking, tackling, positioning, but not weak either. Strong. He's just a pretty sort of average looking centre back for League Two. The way that he's been done here, I don't like him because of that speed, and I want to play a high defensive line and push up the pitch and all that with this tactic where these wingers will be pushing against the fullbacks and pressing them and all that. Because otherwise we're going to just invite pressure on ourselves, and we can't really take that because we haven't got a good enough side. So we want to put the pressure on them. He's someone you're just going to have to use, I think, because you can't get rid of him. But as soon as you can, I'd say get rid of him. Probably January might be a good time, because you'll play him a bunch of games, and then they'll see him play, and then it'll be long enough time for him to decide he wants to leave. Right, next one, Tutonda. He's okay for this level. I in my save I ended up using him as a backup or rotation option for the fullback which I signed from Newcastle, which was this guy Jordan Hackett. Signed this guy because he's obviously better than Tutonda. Bit worrying on his stamina, and with regards to my tactic I've just set up now, I probably wouldn't sign him again because he's not very good off the ball, and he has got first touch passing technique, some okay flair, and composure, which is all very good for a inverted wing back. It's up to you whether you want to sign him. He will sign for you for sure on loan, and he's young, so it might be worth signing him on a permanent deal if you can. If you can get that personality improved, it's just so many players just balanced. It's so frustrating. Right, next one. In terms of left backs, other than that, you haven't really got any options. This is you've got this guy, but there's no way he can play for you. I guess he could, but you're scraping the barrel there. You can do better than this guy, and he's not going to make it. I don't think he's with a balanced personality. I think we talked about him already. Yeah, get rid of him, send him on loan, whatever. Get a better left back and use Tutonda as your rotation option. Obviously, beyond that, it's up to you what players you want to use. I guess you could use a back three as well, and then you've got third guy here, Will Wright, to play centre back. Some dodgy mental ability there, but to be honest, he performed okay for me when I used him. But I like the 4-3-3, so I use a ball in midfielder in the defensive midfield slot, and I find that gives me the best results. It's not like previous FMs. I'm sorry, if you go into so it was right there actually. I just have to click on that. If you go into these locked in player instructions, it's got these, but if in previous FMs it used to have closed down much more and or closed down more, and that meant that the ball in midfielder tended to go out of position a lot, and he had a lot of defensive he was a bit of a defensive liability, so you needed somebody else to sort of stay with him and hold position like a deep line playmaker. But this time they haven't got that in there, so he is very solid, and I recommend you use one of these, especially if you're going to use two Mazzalas that aren't really defensive kind of players. But I don't even know if this tactic works. I didn't use a tactic like this. I went something like this: deep line playmaker, central midfielder on attack, inside forward on support, inverted winger on support. But I've done some with wing backs. This guy was full-back attack, and this guy was I think he was just a regular full-back because we needed to cover for this guy going forward a lot. Lost my train of thought now, but I recommend this formation anyway. But I had a lot of problems doing this though, like this way, because the striker was isolated a lot. This guy was isolated quite a bit as well. These guys didn't have a lot of output, the wide two players, unfortunately, because I couldn't get them to score really, or do much to interact with this poacher, which I did use the poacher the whole season. Although I did start off with advanced forward, but I went poacher in the end, which had better results. These guys don't interact with the poacher enough, unfortunately. Maybe it was because I wasn't pushing up high enough. I found if I went to attacking width narrow, I got more interaction, and when I did that, actually my fortunes changed for the better for sure, and that's how I ended up getting promoted through the playoffs, because we were kind of mid-table, and then we did that, and then all of a sudden we started winning games, and we went into playoffs, and then we won the playoffs in the end. But I recommend not doing that. I recommend this business, going to wingers. It doesn't matter if you use inside forward or inverted winger and give them the stay wider instruction, they will not stay wide. Whereas wingers will definitely stay wide and stretch the defence, and I think that's why they're more successful, because they open up the spaces for your central striker, because they fullbacks get distracted and they get pulled out of position, and this guy can run into them. Not Hawkins, obviously, you use a different player, but or the same thing here with this guy Reeves. I'd actually use, if I was going like this, I'd go Lapsley. Lapsley gets up there into that space between the fullback and the centre back, and this winger is dragging that defender away, distracting him, and that's how he gets up into that space. So that's something to consider. And I've gone with floated crosses here because I'm using Hawkins. Obviously, if you're using the other guy, what's his name? Tom something or other, isn't it? Tom Nichols. If you're using him, he's only okay in the air. I probably wouldn't do it with him. I'd probably stick him on low crosses if you're using him. I tried using him as deep line forward and false nine, because false nine's probably one of his better roles because he's got that vision. But the movement, and he has got comes deep to get the ball. I did consider that, and I tried that, and it didn't work. But probably that was down to my tactical woes. So feel free to try that. Right, on to the rest of the squad. So with this setup, I've chosen Dom Jeffries to be my ball-winning midfielder. He's not great in my, but he is young, and he will maybe develop into something if you can get his personality up, and he will be influenced by mentoring. Now, I signed this guy for a ridiculous amount of money. Personally, I thought it was really worth it. Lasse Sorensen. He's young, and I signed him for £1.2 million, which is an absurd amount of money for this level. But I just love this guy, the way this guy looks. He's got decent personality, massive work rate. He's got the aggression, the stamina. He's got all those ball winning attributes. He's got decent tackling and decent marking and positioning. So, and obviously the rest of his attacking ability is quite weak, but he can pass the ball. His touch is okay. He doesn't completely shit himself on the composure front, but he's not strong. He's not super strong either, which I didn't really find any problem with that. But I signed him for 1.2 million. I think I did like 250 up front or something, and then the rest in instalments and add-ons from Lincoln City. I think in order to do that, I had to get rid of a lot of players and free up the wage budget, and then slide the slider along so that I got the transfer budget increased. But he's definitely worth considering. He is only Danish, so he does need a work permit to sign for you. As you can see here, he sees no benefit in becoming English. Presumably that means because he thinks that they're going to give him another work permit, which is what happened when I signed him. So I'm not sure why they gave him a work permit. I guess it's because he's already here and he's been working here a little while. Yeah, he's been in England for such a long time. I guess they just gave him a work permit anyway, and good thing they did. But he's worth a look. But in the meantime, you've got this guy, and you've also got this other guy, Timothy Dieng. He's got a good stamina, work rate. The rest, not so much. Concentration 8, and that's what puts me off this guy. He didn't really perform all that well when I used him, and I think that has a lot to do with it. He is good in the air on set pieces and all that, so you'll end up keeping him, but for a season, and then trying to get rid of him. He's on £3,500 a week, which is way too much money. It's definitely not worth that. In my opinion, this is a player that's worth probably something like 1.5 to 1.8k a week. But yeah, you're gonna have to keep him on, I'm afraid, because he's not gonna leave because he's only just signed. So you might as well use him. This guy is injured. Stuart O'Keefe. He's another ball-winning midfielder. He's on too much money again, really. Obviously, he has got that mentality to play football. Like, he's got a very high aggression, bravery, stamina, work rate. He's got the ball-winning attributes. He hasn't got the rest of him. There's not much about him in terms of his technical ability or his pace. and he hasn't got a very good personality either. In my opinion, his best days are behind him, and you should get rid of him. And he signed in May last year, so that means you can get rid of him probably, and I recommend doing that, even if you have to offer you can even extend his contract if you want. I wouldn't recommend that. You can even if you can offer the club some of his wages to take him off you, that's worth it, just to free up some more wage budget. I would give the guy away for free to somebody. I think I ended up selling him for a couple of $1,000 or something like that. Even though, he's got that great sort of mentality for on the pitch, the work rate, he's a workhorse for sure, and I do love that. It's just not good enough for the club. Like the rest of him, you can work hard all you want, but if the rest of your ability doesn't carry you, that's not going to, that ball winning aspect isn't going to be enough. It's like a kind of a Scott McTominay situation for Manchester United. He works his socks off, but he hides behind players, and he's not that great on the ball, and that's why he's not good enough for Man United. Another one. Ben Reeves. This is a player I ended up getting rid of as well. As it happens, he's probably one of your best midfielders, or not. According to your assistant manager, he's not that great, but I think he is actually probably one of the best ones, because like this guy's obviously Lapsley is your best one. Then you got McDonald, slow, workhorse for sure again, but dodgy otherwise. With these 9s and 8s, you need those to be 10 plus on everything. If you want to get up, get any chance of winning in League Two, you need 10s and 11s at least, preferably 12s and 13s if you really want to do well. This guy, he's on fairly cheap wages, to be fair, and you can get rid of him because of this contract start date. I don't think he's my first choice for the ball winning midfielder because of that pace, and that's why I like this guy more. This guy more because he's quicker. Basically, he's a lesser ball winner for sure. What did I set it up? Dom Jeffries. You need a better ball winner midfielder, basically, than this guy. He's probably better as a rotation option elsewhere. Like, if you look at him, he'd not be bad in that position going forward, or as a Mazzala is. I set it up before. Let's see what they say on here. Box to box midfielder or Mazzala, they think he's decent going forward, but they think he's he's best as a ball in midfielder if he's a DM. Yeah, I agree with that. And you got this guy. Excuse me, I'm gonna sneeze. This guy is slow. I don't tolerate slow, because I just feel like people are just going to run around him, and I don't like that. He's 35. He's going to fall apart any minute now. He's already falling apart, let's be honest. He's got good mental ability. He's got good technical ability relative to the squad, and he used to play for Millwall. He's got good personality as well relative to the squad as well. So Could be worth keeping around for that. But I wouldn't play him, and I don't think I did play him at all in the first season. I'd try and get rid of him as soon as you can, to be honest, because he's a liability to him physically. I just can't accept that pace and acceleration. Same reason I can't accept it here either. I can't have people going in behind me and my guy is not able to catch up, especially if I'm doing a high press. Right, go back on the squad, go through players. This guy's another guy. He is our best midfielder. He'd probably do a pretty good job in central midfield, but he hasn't got any current familiarity with that position. He's also out for 3 to 4 months. For that reason, and because he's on £3,500, unfortunately, I think you should let him go. Now that's maybe a bit controversial because he is the best player that we've got right now, but I think you can go and get a bunch of other players just as good as him with the money you've got and the money you're going to have once you free up those wages. Don't get me wrong, for this level I do like him. You know, he's quite well rounded. Yeah, he would do quite well as a Mazzala for sure. They say he could be a striker. I guess he could be with that anticipation as well. He could be a striker, yeah. But he can also be a winger cutting in. Depends if you want to use inverted wingers or not. But I just don't think he's worth keeping around because he's on £3,500 a week. And if I can get rid of that £3,500, then I can spend that on somebody else who can play right away. He hasn't got a good personality either. I'm very particular about this. This balanced business is no good. He's only just signed for us. It's 28 days until you can cancel his terminate his loan. So by the end of July, you'll be able to get rid of him and bring somebody else in for that money. Because there's no point keeping around a player that's going to be not available for 4 months. I mean, how long's the season? That's like a third of a season or something. It's not worth it, is it? To get rid of him. Moving on. Let's go to. We've done all these other players, haven't we? Yeah. Jordan Green. Questionable ability for sure. Bit of a speed merchant, but not much else. Dribbling, flair, works hard, to be fair to him, and I do like that teamwork. But not much else about him. If you want to use a winger, I guess he could be all right. I got rid of him. He is he is relatively cheap in terms of wages, so could be a rotation option. In the current squad, though, he's first choice. Right, who's next? Tom Nichols. We've already done Tom Nichols. Callum Harriott. He's definitely a better player than Jordan Green. And he's somebody I did keep on till the end of the season. Although it says here, excuse me, it says here he's only on until January. So I don't know if they'll let you extend his contract. No. So probably worth keeping him about and then get rid of him in January, let him go. Because you can get somebody better than that. Or if you want, you can extend his contract. I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you what you want to do, but this guy don't have a long-term future at the club. He is good. He is, decent, and he'll get a few goals and that for you. And he's probably the best winger you've got outside this Aidan O'Brien guy. So I'll leave it up to you. Next one, Shea Alexander. He's your kind of a backup fullback, I guess, because you'll be using Robbie McKenzie here on the right, unless you want to invert your fullbacks and have opposite-footed fullbacks. I used him as a rotation option. I don't think he's good enough for the club. He's got very good well, not very good, but he's got a good personality. Excuse me. And that's just that, really. He's, keep him on until the end of the season, and then let him go. I don't think there's much else to discuss there. He's on £1,000 a week, and to be honest, that's about all he's worth. So I got no complaints with this guy. He won't perform very well for you, by the way. He'll probably give you like 6.6 average rating. But he is a good mentor. Next up, Hakeeb Adelakun. Pretty much similar to Jordan Green. Not much to say about him apart from he's on way too much money. He is on loan from Lincoln City, and in my opinion, you should probably look to send him back to Lincoln City. So in 28 days, you can do just that. Lincoln City, by the way, are the ones that have the this guy Sorensen that I signed, but they've also got a couple of other good players that are worth looking at. Where is he? Regan Poole is someone definitely you should take a look at. I don't think he'd sign for you this season, but maybe next season if you can get into League One, or maybe you've improved your squad quite a bit by then, he might sign for you. His contract finishes at the end of the season. If nobody signs him right now, you've got quite a few clubs interested. He could be worth bringing in for sure. He's got very good ability and he's got potential to improve as well. Good personality. He can. I think if you played him solidly every single game and you had him right now, you could probably get him to be Championship level, because he's already good League One level. This guy's another one. He's got good ability. A left back. I don't think he would come on loan. Oh no, they'd let him go on loan to you. So maybe he's worth having a look at for loan, because he don't cost a lot of money, and he's definitely better than your current fullback. So he's definitely an option for left back. And there's another guy as well I want to show you that I think we signed in real life. Yeah, this guy from Accrington. He's another decent fullback. I don't know if they'll let him loan. No, he's first team, but he's got an okay personality. He's still youngish. I didn't sign him in the end because he isn't quite good enough to strongly improve my team, but he's someone we signed in real life. Right, going back to the is this another guy? Oh yeah, this was another guy I considered as well. Max Sanders. Good passing vision, flair. Not very good. Good physical ability and stamina. So that's what made me think about signing him. But ultimately, I didn't sign him because he had a weak personality, and he's not going to develop because he's 23. But if I could have my team right now, I would. He's a pretty decent striker as well. For centre back, I signed this guy from Bayern's second team. He would definitely improve your squad, and I think they would loan him to you, although he does cost a lot of money. The problem is right now he's injured for ages. Someone to bring in January for sure. Good personality, and I think what I did was I ended up loaning him, and then I ended up signing him permanently eventually for a few $100,000, because he's got potential to become good enough for the Championship or top of League One for sure. Scottish, that's why I could sign him, because of this whole Brexit business. Jake Turner, the reports say that he's equal to Glenn Morris in star rating ability, but good determination, but and pretty decent on the technical front, goalkeeping front. My problem with this guy is he's got 6 positioning, and you can have all the goalkeeping ability you want, but if you can't put yourself in the right position, you're going to leak goals. So he's 23. I don't know if he's going to develop or not. I didn't give him a game at all when I played this save. I don't think he's good enough, or will ever be good enough. In my opinion, you should loan him out and then or keep him around to play cup games or something like that, and then look to sell him as quick as you can. Next up, we got Tristan Abrahams. Good physical ability, but not much else other than that. He shouldn't be playing in League Two for sure. He's just not good enough. We've signed him from Eastleigh, which is a team from below us, so he's just not good enough. Maybe you could use him as a rotation option. I just don't think he's worth keeping on. And free up the money and use it on somebody better. You can just do that, and I think that you can get rid of him. Yeah, there's no cannot terminate this loan business going on. So next, Lewis Walker, maybe a rotation option. I think I ended up loaning him out and then getting rid of him at the end of the season, because if I can get somebody to pay his wages, then I can spend that £800 a week on somebody else. This guy is just not good enough, really. Next up, Ethan Coleman, another young player, rotation option really. You could use him as rotation centre back or defensive midfielder or central midfielder. I don't know if he's I don't think he's any good. He never really performed very well for me, but I think he performs a lot better in real life for Gillingham. But he's only on £1,000 a week. I mean, it's not awful as a rotation option, I guess. We've already done Sean Williams, already done Dieng, Will Wright, rotation centre back / full back. I think we've already talked about him. He's only on £1,000 a week. He did all right for me. I'd keep him on until the end of the season and get rid of him, because he's on a 2-year deal, unfortunately, and he's no good to you in the second season. Jaden Clark. Just basically another Adelacoon or Jordan Green, isn't it? Really, it's just, and he isn't even that quick either. So he's on until 2025 as well. I don't think he's worth keeping around. Like, I'd send him on loan and then probably look to get rid of him for transfers at the end of the season. And then we got this guy out on loan that we signed from Chatham. He's on too much money for his ability, probably. Don't think he'll actually develop into much. He's got an okay personality there. I got rid of him as soon as I could because I didn't think he was going to become anything that was useful to me in a quick enough amount of time. Because really, it's all about just getting up them leagues as quickly as possible, and we ain't got time for anybody not being good enough, because that's just how it is. And I think that wraps it up in terms of the squad. I'll go for a few more players that you might want to sign. This is my striker that I signed first of all. Now, some of these players might look a little bit differently to when I first signed them. This player was actually, I believe, better than this when I signed him in my save, because sometimes they have variable current ability, or I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I signed him. He scored 18 goals for me, and he's got very low stamina, so that's something to work on, but it will be at the expense of everything else. He's a poacher. You don't want him to run around, you don't want him to do anything except just score goals. Shame about the moves into channels. I don't like that because I want him to stay central in my tactic, but could be useful for you. Anyway, he scored 18 goals for me, so maybe he'll score 18 goals for you as a poacher. And his finishing gets up to 14, 15. This acceleration ended up going up to like 15, 16. This went up to 13 pace. These off the ball and the mentals went up by a couple of points as well. This passing went up by a couple of points. Like, he ended up improving quite a bit through mentoring as well, because he's got the balanced personality. But I signed him for a season, and then I got another season. Almost signed him permanently as well, but another club took him. But he's worth a look, definitely. I'd recommend this guy, Leighton Stewart. Another guy that I signed. Now, you can't sign this guy right away because he's just signed for Notts County. It's none other than Macauley Langstaff. This guy is a beast. This is a player that I signed in January of the first season, and from the start of the game until that January, he scored 18 goals for Notts County. And when he signed for me, I paid only 110,000 for him, which I couldn't believe how cheap that was for his ability, really. Because look, you got a very good anticipation, off the ball, finishing. He's dead quick, works hard. He's not strong or good in the air, but and he's not that good at long shots. But he can't pass the ball that well. But he could score a lot of goals, and he ended up scoring another 18 goals for me. So in a whole season, he scored 36 goals. Very consistent performer, and I highly recommend him. He's got a good personality as well. This is a guy you should definitely sign. I don't think he will improve on his attributes very well. I don't think he improved that much at all. I think I got his decision to go up to like 10 or something, and off the ball went up to 14. But he's definitely somebody you should sign. They've got another player here that's quite good as well. Let me see this guy, Ruben Rodriguez. I don't think this is a player that you'll easily be able to sign because he's kind of too good for your team, really. But he's a very creative player and good up front as well. So he's definitely worth considering. I don't think. He's been with them a couple of seasons. You can see last season he scored 19 goals for him. Like this is a really great player. I don't think they'll want to sign him. Want you to sign him, but his contract finishes at the end of the season. If you can get him, good luck. But Amiens, I don't know how you say it, and Valvik are sniffing around him, so he's good. Like definitely a good player, and way too good for National League. So you've seen Jordan Hackett, you've seen Leighton Stewart, who else? Right, Arsenal. Going to Arsenal, go to their under-21s and have a look at this guy here. I'll be very surprised if they'll let you sign him. They'll probably say want them to play with. Oh no, they'll let him go. Well, that's great, isn't it? If you can get this guy on loan, you should definitely get him because he's very creative, good up front, can play in all those positions there. He'd probably be a pretty decent false nine as well. And he will get a work permit. He is Romanian only, so he hasn't got UK nationality, but he will get a work permit. Another guy to look at is this guy. Not quite as good as the last guy, but he's got some speed on him, and I think he's probably well worth it if you're looking for another striker or inside forward. And he's young, so he's got a lot of room to get better, and I think he can become championship level if you can get his personality to improve, for sure. I ended up signing him for like, I think it ended up being 900,000 or something, because I had him on loan, and then he was good for me, scoring quite a few goals, and I signed him for 900,000 just so that he can be on my books and not take up my loan slots. And yeah, highly recommend. He was quite a better player by then though than this. He was faster and technically more gifted by then, but yeah. Another player you might consider is this guy. Dodgy concentration decisions, but very good physically. Centre back, and I think he will come on loan to you. Yeah, they'll let him go on loan. So he's worth considering. Zach or Awe. Zachaway. Yeah, Nigerian, second nationality. Another guy. This guy, probably about the same level as or similar level to your current midfielders, but I like personally that he's got that really good first touch and work rate, and he's 18, so he will improve, and he'd be a pretty good Mazzala, especially once those physicals get up there. He's another one that I signed permanently from Arsenal. Unfortunately, the board won't let you have a senior affiliate. for a long time. So if you can get a senior affiliate, I recommend getting Arsenal and getting these guys on loan. If you can't sign them permanently before then, you probably won't be able to. And then you can get them for free, the wages for free. So it'll be a couple of. I had to get to League One before I got a senior affiliate, and I had to beg them to give me a senior affiliate. It was annoying. And the first chairman, Bradley Gallinson, left the club by then, so that's probably why they changed their mind, because we had a new owner by then. Right. So that's some options for signing people. It's not nearly enough to get the squad to the level of League One for sure, but once you clear out a lot of these wages and you can bring some better players in, you're laughing basically. But for now, this squad's in a bit of a peril because there's some players on too high wages and a lot of players that aren't really good enough to get you at least your objective of reaching top half finish. That's what you're meant to do this season. You're meant to get a top half finish. If you go into squad, where is it? Squad planner. Got a comparison, and you just sort of let's say go through these. A lot of them are below average, or midfield's above average. Midfielders, these are midfield abilities. Like we are kind of an average team in this league, maybe lower than average in some cases. But this is how you sort of compare yourself to other teams in your league. I think that's just about it now. That wraps it up. I won't go into staff and all that. You can do that yourself. You know what to do. Your staff are crap, by the way. I will say that. Go and look at your coaching staff. Your assistant manager's decent. I wouldn't recommend getting rid of him because although he hasn't got good judging of potential and ability, he's on contract till 2024, and if you rip up that contract, that's going to cost the club a lot of money. This guy's all right, nothing special. He's pretty dreadful for a goalkeeping coach. Fitness coach, he's okay. But he's not brilliant at analysing performances, and he's even worse. And then let's look at recruitment. He's not great. He's okay. He's on a lot of money I don't think you'll use him that much. You might do, you might not. But these guys are sort of average or worse, and I'll be honest, the money you can spend on staff isn't that great. You probably won't be able to sign anyone for more than £1,000 a week, but you can get better people than this. So as soon as their contracts run out, or if you fancy it, you can offer them mutual termination and they'll accept it. Say like this guy, for example, he's not on that much money. He's only on part-time. If you went to offer him a mutual termination, say it'll only be 14k, and you've got 1.9 million in the bank, so that's not that much. So I'll just leave it there for staff. You can work it out. Anyway, that's all we've got time for, so we'll leave it there. That's the Gillingham suggested overhaul.